This is an electric car, but the difference about this electric car is you can fill it up to a range of about 500 kilometers in 4 minutes because it's powered by hydrogen. So I'm here just outside Heathrow Airport. In fact, you'll probably hear a large jet fly over any second now. BMW have been developing this technology for about 20 years, particularly focusing on fuel cells for about 15 years. And not to get too complicated on it, because I don't really understand all the molecule business myself, but you get hydrogen gas. It will take 6 kilograms in this car. It mixes with oxygen, and the only thing that comes out of the exhaust pipe, because there is an exhaust pipe in this car, is water. Unlike a battery electric vehicle where you have to fill it up at a fixed point, you basically load this car with hydrogen and it uses it on the way and charges the car on the way. So there's an awful lot less sitting around time. It is doing, on our journey today, about 1.5 kilograms of hydrogen per 100 kilometers. So 6 kilograms in the tank, you get the idea of the range. One thing that's very interesting about it is it's much more efficient in cold temperatures. So the heating of the cabin, for example, comes off the exhaust. So you're not using the battery to do that. It could potentially be overkill for passenger cars, but many transportation companies, for example, are certainly interested. Large agricultural vehicles that, it's not practical for them to have massive battery cells on board. So I'm just bringing around this. So this is obviously, to look at it, a very normal BMW X5. Doesn't look any different really, apart from the massive teethy grille with the blue housing around it. And your hydrogen pumps, I think there's 12 in total of these sites in the UK. We don't have any in Ireland, obviously. 300 of them in places like China, 150-ish in America. But just a quick video today just to see, are we focusing just on electrification with charging points, or are there alternatives? Rowan Atkinson, for example, wrote an article about this in The Guardian a few weeks ago, and people were kind of up in arms about it. And from my perspective, the man was just saying, should we look at alternatives? And that's exactly what we're doing today. So we're going to fill this up in about 4 minutes, hit the road, and we'll see what exactly is a hydrogen vehicle like to drive.
That sounds terrifying. So all it's doing is it puts a bit in, does some pressure checks just to make sure that it's all safe to keep going, and then it starts.
All right. Oh, I can see the kilogram's gone in. Yeah, it's not quite 1 kilogram yet. 0.2, 0.3. How long would it take to fill that if it was actually empty?
If it was empty, it would. This is a 6 kilogram tank. It would take about 4 or 5 minutes, something along those along those lines.
And nothing to hold on to, nothing to press, like a.
You don't have to hold on, which again is so. One of the challenges is when people, because you don't have to be here, you then get on your phone, you walk away, you go and grab a coffee. And then the danger is you come back and you think about it and you get in your car and you drive off sort of thing. So you can see it's busy working its way through its system, doing its fueling.
So there's 1 kg gone in. Yeah, just under 1 kg.
Yeah, I imagine it will be around about that sort of level because obviously it's only.
It was only just slightly off, yeah.
Just slightly off.
Thank you.
So it's telling you it's done. So now, if you pull the blue bit back.
Okay.
So just the blue bit pulls back. There you are. Take it off.
Oh no.
Put it back in there.
No, nothing. Very unceremonious.
There you go.
That's straightforward. No, it's very neat looking. It's like LPG or something. It's like a sort of an LPG nozzle, yeah.
So
very cool.
I need to then roll on the next one, please.
That's easy.
So Bob is on this trip with me, so I just thought it'd be actually easier because we could nearly have a chat about it. So first of all, I'll talk to you about the driving dynamics of the BMW X5. It basically feels like a BMW X5 with a battery.
A very fast one.
Yeah, it's got 395 brake horsepower, 700 newton meters of torque. So you're not wanting for anything.
Mark has to think hard here because he's on the wrong side of the car for Britain.
In a left-hand drive, yeah.
In a German car in England.
Just give me a couple of minutes, I'll get used to it. I'm going right here.
Yep.
Whoop, and there's a Toyota up my back side.
Toyota drivers in England, very aggressive.
So when you plant it, as you'd expect an X5 to do, it
really
takes off, and it does that Hans Zimmer thing that BMW have. Whoop.
Really is torquey though. My God, that plane is right there.
Right beside Heathrow. It's like, wow. So what can I tell you? Well, the display says percentage of hydrogen used, so we're up to 100 now because we just filled up. You filled up the car.
It took a minute. Just plug it in. Done.
Currently, it's 23 euro per kilogram of hydrogen. The more it's used, they say, the more the price will come down. And the company, what are they called again?
Air Products.
Air Products. They've been in Ireland and the UK for 65 years. The company where we were today. They were asked lots of questions like, can they take over existing petrol and diesel stations? Yes, in theory, but they can't use the pump, the storage tanks.
Underground tanks.
They'd have to be converted, and you can store hydrogen overground. Doesn't have to be underground. Obviously, there's a big thing for agriculture and trucks to use this because they
JCB's done it too.
Like they can't. If you imagine a massive Volvo truck carrying whatever, your strawberries from the Netherlands back to Ireland, you know, it's just not practical for them to be a BEV.
Too heavy, not enough range. You'd be stuck at charge point. How long would it take to charge up an electric truck?
Your strawberries would be gone off.
Like,
they'd be mouldy by the time they got to you.
Practicalities don't all work out. Some of them will. Maybe in 10 years' time, we'll be having a different conversation. But to decarbonise your fleet, as the guy just put it there in the system, to decarbonise the whole fleet, we need a multifaceted approach to this. And he reckons that hydrogen and electric, that we need to have the both solutions happening at once, is a better solution than just trying to drive everything into pure electric.
And that's a really good point, because they weren't by any means kind of saying hydrogen is the only way.
No, it wasn't this or that.
It was a combination of at least these two solutions, and they reckon we'll achieve things like zero carbon footprints in certain industries quicker if they have both. Also, another point he made was the amount of data centres in Ireland. They could be powered by hydrogen, and when you're creating enough of it to power them, your byproduct of like 10% of that energy could be used for vehicles on the road.
And with the industry standard of 700 psi, was what they're talking about, fueling these cars and trucks from, they will all use the same filling stations. There'll be a demand there.
Puts less pressure on the national grid then also. So, very interesting just to have a look at it as an alternative. To drive this car, you've driven it as well, just feels like you're driving an EV.
Feels like a high-powered X5.
You'd still have potentially range anxiety, especially at the moment, because there's 12 of these stations in the UK, there's none in Ireland. So it would be kind of stressful worrying about, will I make the next one? But I suppose it's all about economies of scale, and
you're going that way.
Can I go straight as well?
You're going all the way around. I don't know, sure. It'll redirect us anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because you're going out that road over there. Holy moly.
Yeah. It's got 400 brake horsepower. It'll be grand.
You can... like a little salmon.
Hello, BMW. Yeah, we totaled the car. But we only made 100 of them. Yeah, you got 99 now.
99 chances.
99 problems.
But this ain't one of them.
And an iX5 ain't one. Also, we both liked how the lights go amber before they go
yeah, that's genius. It's
green here in the UK. I don't know, like if you're watching this in the UK, you're like, yeah. But at the same time, we're not used to it.
It gives you a tiny bit of preparation time for the green. I still think you're going around another one, are you? Yeah, that one over there.
I'm a tourist.
830, that one, yeah. There we go. Down them 25.
The way you say 830 sounds even more Irish because we're in England. That's weird. So it's a case of one of the questions I asked the guys were why are there not more manufacturers looking at hydrogen, and it's a simple case of they don't necessarily see it at the moment because there isn't the stations. There aren't enough factories being able to produce it at the moment for cars. Now, we did say Hyundai are also interested again. Toyota obviously are on board.
Honda
BMW
coming back.
Volkswagen Group don't seem to be interested at the moment. They're not sure.
Yeah, I see that, and it's hard to predict because it's another fuel source, so it would require another division of your system. Now, BMW have been doing this for 20 years, as you said in the press thing. They're actually going to make direct hydrogen into the engine, so that was the idea right there. But they gave it up 15 years ago, and now they started doing hydrogen fuel cell. Honda were in it 20 years ago. They stopped at the Clarity, but that's coming back. They're going to reignite that whole system as well. So there is interest. If Hyundai are doing it, then Kia is going to do it because they're the same company essentially. Yeah. So that you're going to get two companies for one there. And BMW, if they develop the technology, 15 years experience, they might be able to sell it on to Toyota, whose Toyota is part of their company as well. So you've got a lot of things happening in a very sensible way. And for you, the end user, and for us as well, it means that if there was enough hydrogen fuel stations, it's a direct move from the fuel you use now, petrol and diesel, putting a hose into a tank and filling it up, to hydrogen. You won't even notice the difference. It's so easy. Click, leave it there, it pressurizes, unclick, walk away, and you're done. It's exactly the same as you do with petrol and diesel right now.
And just again to reiterate, it is about €23 per kilogram at the moment. It will, it will come down. And the other point made was, in 10 years' time, how much will a litre of diesel or petrol cost? Because it ain't going to get drastically cheaper.
You know, they're going to keep pushing the taxes up on it because it's a carbon emitter. They're going to keep doing mad things to get you back out of those petrol and diesel cars. And if there's a way that we can keep the speed of movement, because electric cars, you have to build in a sort of a 2-hour window into your day if you're on a long drive for charging. And it means you spend more because you go to a petrol station, you plug in, you're going to be stuck there for maybe 45 minutes to an hour and a half, whatever long you want to be there. There's coffee and lunches.
You'll buy a Twix that you didn't even want.
Yeah, then you're fatter than you were before. This is why I still drive an electric car, put on tons of weight, like. Or you bring your lunch, like I see some people.
Yeah, we're having a packed lunch. Why? Because you have to charge the car.
Stop charge the
Which
car.
Does sound like madness.
Yeah.
But that is for people doing much longer journeys. So look, food for thought, if nothing else.
It's fascinating food for thought, I think. It's fascinating where the car industry's going, right? I mean, you think of how many changes we've darted around with for the last few years. Diesel was a solution to everything, then petrol now a solution, PHEVs, electric cars, now hydrogen is back again in the news. It's fascinating and a rare look at the pointy bleeding edge of where we are right now. And hydrogen has been around for so long, it's actually not future technology, it is now technology. We're just looking at it and trying to get it rolled out. It needs investment, of course, and the byproduct of all of our buses being hydrogen would be to be enough fuel stations for your ordinary hydrogen car as well, so you'd have more cars on the road.
I went to a talk with the astronaut Chris Hadfield yesterday, and he said something that just kind of hit home. He was talking for 2 hours, and I remember lots of what he said, but one thing in particular was the planet has survived for a long time. The planet will be fine, but if we want to exist in the life we've all become accustomed to as humans, then we have to create change. And he put up a picture of a Model Y on the screen. He said last month was the first time ever in the world that the best-selling car in the world was an electric one. And he said he doesn't really care much for Elon Musk, despite him being a fellow Canadian, but he just said at least that shows that there's a willingness from people to kind of go, right, we can't keep burning things. The other thing about hydrogen cars actually is it uses 10% of the raw materials when it comes to the battery production. So cobalt and lithium, much smaller amounts, which obviously has less of an impact on the world, on the planet. So it's not cheap right now. It's not going to be. This is one of 100 cars that BMW have made.
Yeah.
So this is not a mass-produced thing by any stretch. It's not quite here yet. It is the future potentially, working in a hybrid way, no pun intended, with standard electric powered cars. But I drive a Hydrogen X5, would you?
I'd certainly drive a Hydrogen X5.
Right,
it's fascinating stuff, yeah. And it's comfy.
Yeah.
And it's big and it's quiet like everything else in the range, but just gets on with the job. You imagine the people who don't have access to electric charge points, their own home domestic ones, apartment users and things. They're the kind of people who might want this, because you just go to a fuel station, but you're still decarbonising the fleet. You're still running on zero emissions here, you know. But you just don't have to worry about charging it up or try to overstay your welcome at a fast charge point, as we've come across it a couple of times. Yeah, that.
How long will you be?
Yeah, that's crap.
4 minutes. 4 minutes.
We're going to have a very careful experience of that. Check out our podcast.
We do a podcast. We need to do it more frequently, I know. But we will discuss this. We'll actually have one of the experts that we met from, once again, Air Products.
Air Products. It sounds like a very generic name.
Yeah.
It's an American company. It's been in Europe for about 65 years. So they count themselves as a UK and Irish company, but it's an American company actually. They exclusively work in hydrogen terms and zero emission, or low carbon emission stuff. Hydrogen is not zero emissions making it itself, but if you count in how electricity is made, it's probably equivalent amount of CO2 that comes out of hydrogen as out of electricity. It all depends. People who really like EVs tend to like Excel. They like spreadsheets and, you know, graphs and charts and things, and they can essentially prove anything, you know, because everything's great in the world as long as it's powered by electricity. But this is powered by electricity, just uses hydrogen fuel cells to make it happen.
Oh, and Rowan Atkinson, if you're watching this video, I understand what you were trying to say.
Me too. So I thought he made some really valid points in his article, but of course, he's out of touch with the world, isn't he? This
washed up comedian. Washed up.
I know, yeah.
And he loves cars.
And a petrol head, which seems to be used as a derogatory term in his favour, even though the man owns a McLaren F1.
Ready?
Sure. Ooh, the power! The speed!
Hydrogen.
And
Right.
no fear, because we have a full tank. We're not worried about electricity. We're okay. We can keep on trucking as long as we stay near a hydrogen fuel station.
Incoming bend.
What's
Right.
the serious bend doing?
We got to go catch a flight.
Yeah, we're late.
Thanks for listening to us waffle on about hydrogen. And if you got thoughts on it, good, bad, you think electric only is the way future, the way forward, whatever, leave some comments down below.
Do leave a comment. Thank you.
Bye.
Isn't the road names really confusing? A308 and A30 and I don't know.
Just keep it simple in Ireland. M1,
M1.
M50, N4, and the
N8.
N17. I bet you no one, like the Soil Doctors have a song about it. No one in England did a song called the A30. They just didn't like.
We're going to Windsor. That's
Ooh.
what he said. Windsor's Legoland is up there. We're going to Legoland. Now it's a vlog.
We should drop into Al Sausage Fingers because he's a big petrol head.
God, yeah. When do we make a hydrogen?
Prince Charles has a personal collect. Sorry, King Charles has a personal collection of cars worth 6 million, I think. I'm getting lost again. I better go.
You called him Sausage Fingers, then you called him, sorry, King Charles. Oh, sorry, like King Charles. But Sausage Fingers.
Yeah, but when this video goes out, we'll have left the country. It'll be grand. They won't match us.
Treason.
No, England, you are beautiful. Like, look at this.
In
This
fairness,
is-
it is a beautiful
This
country.
is nice.
The English maintain, preserve what they've got incredibly well. They make it look really well done and beautiful walls.
Yeah.
They don't let you knock things down or change. Ireland just demolishes it, put up an apartment block.
And they love queuing in airports at passport control.
Jeez.
Bye!
Bye.